Ready to rock and roll. You're looking well.
I'm looking fucking wild. Tis just
Is that your natural hair colour now, or is it?
Yeah, it kind of is when the sun comes out, all right, which is natural in about 3 different ways. Tis I've grey, and then I've kind of this weird blonde, and then I've kind of there's some brown. It's just everything.
There's a Viking in you, all right. I think
there's something there, all right. The moustache would suggest something, but there's
some Viking went astray up the Shannon, I think.
Well, I think some Viking or some Spaniard went straight on your neck of the woods. Anyway,
just guess, because I actually got, Brian Gallagher was running that ancestry thing there. He was doing something with them, and I did a thing for that. He did it about before Christmas there. You got a few people to do a little video, there was about 3 of us, I'd say, and went up to ancestry and did a little interview. Never saw it, I'd say. It never saw the light of day, I'd say. And got the fucking test results back, the genealogy thing. Wow. I was like, surely no, Italian or Spanish or something, because my sister's certain of it. 100% Irish.
No.
Yeah, 100%. Like they said, there was 0.02% Scottish.
You're the whitest bloke that ever walked the earth. So
I'd say so. Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Because there was hints of that. There were stories of that, because you would see there's a lot of fellas that were playing. I think we talked about this before, but there was a lot of fellas playing football for Kerry, the likes of Paul Galvin and Aidan O'Mahony. There has to be some touch.
Exactly, yeah. And Maris Fitz as well. You have to think. I don't know what it is. Maybe it must have been you're just the sea air. I suppose as kids, you're just thrown outside all day, and that was I'd say that was the long and short of it.
Well, apparently there was... No, I don't know, is it a fable? I mean, you're a more red man than I am, but there's a fable of a Spanish galleon, a couple of them coming to help Ireland in an uprising, but it never...
That's right, yeah.
It never transpired.
They went shipwrecked, yeah. I think they went shipwrecked off Kinsale or something. And they say, Portmagee would have been a pirate town, like where I'm from. So there'd have been a lot of sailors, Portuguese and things like that, who would have been, using it as a station. But I don't know. Current Ancestry.com anyway, they're nothing to do with me.
Well, now they have your genetics and your DNA, and they're going to make a clone Bernard somewhere.
Somewhere, yeah. He'd be doing 10-minute spots in the hay penny on a Sunday.
The last time I properly got to hang out with you, you've become a father and everything since, as have I. But the last time I got to hang out with you, we were young and drunk with the women in our lives as well. We were falling around Electric Picnic.
Electric Picnic, that's right. Yeah, 2017. That was pre-baby days. Yeah, that was great, Racket. It was. It really does change. Once you have a baby, but I think it's way for the better, though. Way for the better. Yeah, it gives you serious focus and drive, and you have a mouth to feed. So you can't be wasting your time. If you're going to do it right,
But and there's nothing sadder than seeing that, the fella who is a parent and he's still falling around the field in the middle of Stradbally somewhere. You're going to get it together,
Come on, man. Come on. Your kid's got school tomorrow,
Plus, it gives you a good excuse if you don't want to go on a terrible night out, which is going to be a bad night out. You go, I don't know. I've the
bambino, no, but
yeah.
The baby, no, but it takes priority. Yeah, it's always that. It's always that. That's very handy, right? Which you're freaking even getting up, comedians. We're not used to getting up early in the morning. We're used to getting up at freaking somewhere between 11:30 and 1.
The brain doesn't have to fire till about 7 in the evening.
But yeah, exactly. And now we're getting up at 6, 7, all hours in the morning. So we're productive in times that we never knew we could be.
It's unreal because you'd wonder, you go, what in the name of fuck was I doing in between? I can't even think of all the shows I must have been watching because what happened with the spare time before that?
Absolutely. We said it, myself and Laura. We used to say to each other, we're like, what did we do?
Come here and tell me this. We may as well kick it off with a tale of a pain in the hole. You were one of the first lads to come on to me when that gig got pulled from under me down in fucking Limerick, and I wanted to shoot the fucking world at the time.
Fuck it, I knew. I know that was dreadful altogether. That's pure Irish begrudgery at a minus there, And sure, when it happened to you, I was the INEC were on to me about it, and I didn't say to them what happened to you. I thought they knew, thought they'd be aware of it. But I'd say they just kind of went down with it anyway, and whatever happens, I think it got wind anyway. They said, lads, if we go through this, we're actually liable through law, like to be punished, like. And, so they had to pull it as well. So we were all fucking slapped across the arse with a wet fish, like.
That's what I was kind of saying about our one. Like, had it slipped through the net and gone ahead, fine. It would have been a perfect example going forward. Like a precedent's going, here, them cunts up in Limerick did it. So,
Yeah, exactly. Why can't we do it? Huh?
Yeah.
That's exactly it. Like, but it's funny how the comedy scene has completely turned on its head. Like it's almost reinvented. They're kind of looking at burlesque style shows now. Like dinner and a show. Like just 4 to a table, 10 was it 11 or 12 tables or something. So and away you go.
We're getting our nipple tassels out. Is that what you're telling me?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, it's looking. I'm going to be in the next couple of weeks. I'm going to be doing 1 or 2 of them. All right, dinner and a show up the north. All right, kind of a thing, just to see. I don't know. See
how it goes. Yeah, it's all like when your show got pulled, and I thought mine was going ahead. I was like, oh God, why didn't Tom Leverland's show go ahead? So I'd have something to base it off. How it went, or because. Like you're standing on stage and there's just a load of cars in front of you. You're getting no feedback, no laughter. So I was like, "Oh God, this is going to be tough." Like,
but that was what I thought was going to be the biggest pain in the hole. Was that is going? How do I make this work? Like, but sure, look at it. At least I'll be able to report back to anybody doing it. And I didn't give a shit. I was going.
That's it. Yeah.
I'm fucking doing it regardless. But what annoyed me then was then.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Only a couple of weeks ago, the fucking circus were able to do it. Did you see that?
That's it. Yeah. They did the circus in Tralee the week. My show in Clarny was called off, and they did a drive-in bingo in Castle Island as well. The same.
So what's the difference? Was yours going to be out in the car park of the INEC, or what was?
In the car park. Yeah, in the car park on a built-in exact same setup as yourselves, like built-in stage. Big screens, radio mics or the frequency into the car radio to hear the microphone, and it's going to be. they just totally kind of went heavy on us, for some reason.
You ended up being spoken about in the Senate. How cool.
Sorry, the dog.
Was it not? I thought it was the Senate. No,
it was Healy.
Oh, you're right. It was Healy Ray. You beg your pardon.
But it was on in the National Convention Centre. The doll was held there.
That's why I thought it was somewhere else.
That's it.
Because they shouldn't be in there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just funny because the fella messaged me saying like, "You'll be mentioned in the doll there." And I was like, "Oh yeah," I took no notice of it, like. And it was only when the messages were coming through and people were tagging you and fucking, I was like, "Oh fuck it, this might be actually a big deal." I took no notice of it at the beginning, but it's funny if you actually the reason they say it's a big deal because it's in the minutes, like it's technically in the minutes of the dog.
Yeah.
And if you type in the name, like so, one of the lads typed in my name into the dog minutes, and it came up twice. Once was for myself, and once was for a fella who was guilty of murder back in 1948. So it was.
The old Bernard Casey one. Yeah. Bastards.
Fucking going on murdering, and he going making jokes about it.
I know it, like Healy Ray is so Kerry. He couldn't even tone. And then I thought, there's no way you can get more Kerry than Mikey. And then all of a sudden, Danny Healy Ray showed up.
Yeah. It's like, but wait, there's more.
He's a caricature of somebody, really, isn't he? Like,
I know, yeah. They're their own just enigma, their own style of person. But you know what? There'll probably be books written on them and going, "This is how to be a successful politician," without actually being, if no matter what you do, you're still kind of liked and you're still voted in and all that. Like just some of the things, like the funerals is a big thing by him, and any event, like if they were opening up a fucking hair salon, one of them would pop up, like Danny doesn't even have that. It's not a great spot, and they'd be there to cut the ribbon and into the car and after the next thing, They barely spend 5 minutes at each thing. But
How
still, they're there, they're seen.
How did they work it? How does it work with home life when you're that kind of a fella? Like,
I don't know. I suppose, I remember seeing a documentary when he was living with Lucy. Do you remember that?
oh
Michael
yeah,
Ray was living with Lucy, and he said that he just said, like, I suppose the fathers of Lango, they didn't have to be home. Like, they were working always. It was just the way society was, really. So he was always out. He said he was never home. Sure, Jesus. As my mother says, the fathers now are fucking great. Look at him now, and he changing nappy. Look at him. Look at this, brushing the floor. My God almighty. My mother and her friends think I'm amazing altogether because I brush the floor and clean up and things like, Jesus Christ, look at him, boy, huh? You could do with one of him around the house.
It's because it's not Carstairs. Is it where is it Carstairs from?
Portmagee.
Portmagee, sorry, up the road. I beg your pardon.
Yeah, just it's the same district really. South Kerry, like your Portmagee, Carstairs, Waterville, Valentia, Ballinaskellig, all that area. Like, so it's once you say, like, you know anyone from them towns. Like, if you said, Christ, I know a lad from Waterville, you don't even have to say, I know him. Do you know whoever he is? I know him.
Well, I always got the anytime I was ever down there, a mate of mine, he lived just outside the town of Carstairs, but everybody I met seemed to be super fucking, there seemed to be something super wiry and healthy about him, like.
Definitely, yeah. The sea air, like, that's it. Like, it's kind of, as I say, like, you're trapped between the sea and the mountains. If you look at the map even, and if you look at the map of Ireland and you're zooming in on it, like, it's really brown around our area. That's the McGillicuddy Reeks, like. And the McGillicuddy Reeks have us pinned in by the sea. So, like, even the Brits didn't come down to us. Like, we were never fucking colonised. Like.
And you wanted them, like, you would have welcomed them. Like.
For fuck's sake, we were waving the Union Jack every day of the week. We were fucking. But you know what, like, Valentia Island then, which is across from Portmagee, like, that was totally different then because it was the transatlantic cable was laid from there. And it went across to America, and that was full of English people. Like, the whole, if you drive around Valentia Island, particularly Knightstown, it's like driving through somewhere in Cornwall or something. Do you know? Because all the buildings are, it's absolutely bonkers. Like, if you look at it, like, it's totally, it's a different architecture altogether. Like, you do feel like you're in the south of England. And they had their own kind of society there during the 1800s, like. Yeah.
Can you imagine this is a sketch you should probably do, is just for it to probably be used in schools and whatnot, will be the first British person to land on Valentia Island.
Oh God, yeah.
And the language barrier between the two. Hello.
Good evening, sir. Would you believe that you're the nearest access to the United States? Is that correct? What do you say? So.
But I'd say probably it must be the most downloadable, viewed one. Your the sketch, because I remember watching your sketches were brilliant. Back to like you'd football ones, and you had the B team one. I loved that one.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember? Because it was just it was so on point. You'd lads driving tractors and all the rest of it. Like
the whole lot, yeah.
Fucking brilliant.
Priests, fishermen, farmer, picking the whole lot. Like, so they were all thrown in there, you know.
But is the most viewed one the Polish lad in behind the bar?
It is, and you know what? Behind that then is the French oral. So the first one, I'd say the Polish barman is the first one, and the second one is the French. And I was wondering, I was like, geez, how's the French one so big, you know? And it's because you can actually look at the analytics of the videos, you know, where it's most viewed and all that, and it'll tell you, it says your video is most popular in Vietnam. I was like, what? Yeah, Vietnam, but the reason is because French is the second language there. So, like, if you go onto YouTube and type in French oral or French speaking exam, that's what comes up.
Oh my God. Can you imagine accidentally they start to use? But this is what I'm saying, is accidentally they could, because your stuff is that crisp. Do you know, there's no on the surface to somebody who wouldn't know what they're looking at. There's no zany silliness, like, you know what I mean? Yeah,
exactly. I suppose people could genuinely see it as this is an example video. Like, you know, this is how you're supposed to do it. And the thing is, in the video, I say as the the oral inspector, I say, what do I say? Nous sommes finis, which I thought meant we are finished, but it actually means we are dead. So everyone, like, if you look at the comments underneath it, like, it's all in French. It's like, it's a little bit of an idiot, you little stupid asshole, does not know how to speak French. It's like, oh fuck. And it's actually the same with the Polish video as well, because I said that the barman's name was Nikita in that video, which I thought was a Polish name, because I was full sure the students that we used to teach in the language school in Carsveen, I was full sure I had a load of Nikitas, but it's not. It's a female Russian name. And they fucking went mental. Like, it's, I suppose, in a way, like, it's kind of like doing, well, this is how the Irish speak English, and saying, hi, my name is Deirdre. You know? It's like, that's a fucking woman's name. Like,
do you know what? Just draw out the trolls anyway, and the people that love to comment.
Oh, yeah.
It's perfect.
Driving fucking mad, yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like, you know, when a builder would be building a house, he'd always leave a few schnegs so that your man's engineer or architect would come around and go, I see that. Oh, yeah. Jesus, I didn't know I left that fucking socket hanging off the wall.
Yeah.
I'll put that back on. You know, it's...
yeah. Throw out the line and see what bites, kind of thing. Yeah.
But if you're the kind of people that comment, that's, I suppose, the thing with success, a successful video and video series is that,
you'll get torn asunder.
But how do they feel about gossip and nephew? I mean, surely, but God, Vietnam isn't seeing much in the way of...
No, it's more Lao. Definitely not, no. It definitely doesn't travel me on Munster, to be honest.
I would love to see a whole family sitting around. That, you know, forget the Tri channel. That's what we need to do, is get families from around the world to
watching the gossip.
The gossip and nephew.
That's, you know, Americans watching it, that would be fantastic. Yeah. That's turning on its head a bit.
You know what? You could totally fake it. Just set up a new account pretending to be an American guy. Watch us gossip.
What the hell is this? Are those real feet, or what's the story, man? I don't get it. But that's the, like, one in every, say, 15 or 20 comments would be, what's that? Are they milky teeth? What's the story there? Like, why is he, you know, especially kids, I'd say, you know, young teenagers and things, it's going over their head. They're like, why is he wearing milky teeth? Like, this makes no sense. You know, they don't get the daftness of it. Like,
Bernard, it does not have to be children. You know, it doesn't have to.
Oh, it doesn't. No, no, it doesn't. It was when I did TikTok, because that's mainly younger people. Like, and they were like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, it's not on the surface enough. Yeah, a few times I've tried to be too clever with my own things sometimes, and when you see all of a sudden people who you think, because they're fans of other things that you know I know of and I'm friendly with, and you go, surely be to God, these people, you know, have an intellect, and you're going, they point out exactly where I was incorrect in my comment, but my comment was meant to be incorrect, and you're like, oh
yeah, I know, yeah.
Do you know? I remember somebody posted a great picture of a fella he had a jersey on, out in the field wearing jeans, big fat fellow, with a hurley, and he was without a hurley, and he was obviously playing a game of football. He was just some absolute fucking lout of a lad, like, and people were commenting, this is gas, and I think I put something up along the lines of, and I wouldn't mind, but this is a fucking hurling match he was in the middle of.
Yeah.
At least 12 people underneath it. Oh, trying to be kind, and went, no, Tom, this is actually a Gaelic football match. You know? God,
yeah. It's like, joke, you. You know, that
I'm just going to close the laptop there now and just walk out and smash my face into a wall.
Yeah. It's fucking. I remember I did one sketch with Gossip and Nephew that has something to do with religion anyway, and like I would have a lot of fans would be older, like, you know, like 40s, 50s and things like that, like, who would, you know, the characters would remind them of people from long ago, you know, and Jesus, didn't go down well when I pulled the piss out of the church. They were like, this is mocking God. You'll get no look for this. I agree with John O'Sullivan. But you really should think about what you're putting up. This is really going to affect you going forward. The saints won't look happily upon you. Like, oh man, I'd say they're all fake accounts of my mother, to be honest. My mother actually has my sister's account. She likes Facebook, but she doesn't have her own page. But my sister works in a cafe, and she works crazy hours, like 12-hour days, like, and she just gives her phone to my mom to keep her occupied. And she's constantly
like a child in a high chair.
You can have my phone. Just take my phone there, your grand. And she's constantly sharing all these really, really religious things. Like, they're coming up on my sister's page. And I got to the stage where, like, I literally, me and Laura were talking, like, and we're like, is Lorraine a born-again Christian? What's going on? Like, this is very strange. Like, if you don't share this, the angels of heaven shall fall to hell. And I go, oh, God. I rang her, like, and I was like, come here, what's the story with that? Like, she was like, it's Mom. Oh, thanks. Oh. That makes sense.
It's I do wonder, like, because you can't criticize these people because they're buying a ticket to come see you. You know, that kind of way.
Oh yeah. I know. I understand it, like, but it's funny how, like, it wasn't even sacrilege, like, it was very light, very light, and it was just like, oh my goodness, this is not funny. This is whatever the word is.
And it's when it gets to what they feel personal about. They might be laughing at everything else you slag in society. Once you hit that mark, they're like, oh, this is where I'm drawing the fucking line now.
That's it. He is gone.
How did Gossip and Nephew come about? Were you Blackgarden? Because I remember the early doors, you struck me. I remember there was he was an old fucking alcoholic lad, but he was harmless. And the mother used to pick him up when she'd be picking us up from primary school, because he'd always be at the top of the road, either going for a couple of drinks or after a few drinks. And like that, he'd sit in and he'd hold on to the fucking bar above on the He'd hold on to, as they call it down my way, the Holy Jesus bar. You'd only be holding that if you're shouting Holy Jesus because some fella's driving too quick. But his name was Curly. And Curly would sit in and he'd have every fucking news in a 1 mile. To be only 1 mile. And it was, I remember thinking, even I couldn't understand what the man was saying, like, because he was half steaming, but he was also so ingrained in that part of the area that I grew up in, that I couldn't understand the fucker. But there was every bit of see him inside there now. Jesus, if a fine bully got, and the mother would be going, is that right? Go away, Ned. And just
it was the same, because I suppose it doesn't happen anymore. Like, we call them thumbing, people thumbing, but it's hitchhikers, they say thumbing. There was always a lad thumbing, and you just picked them up, like, that was the way. Like, if you didn't pick someone up who was thumbing, you were ill-spoken of, like. That person would say, like, anyone we picked up, no, they'd say, it's like, whatever it was, how are friends say? Not too bad, no, Christ, damn it, it just wet. Where does Mary Sheehan work? She works in the hospital, I think. Well, she passed me anyway, going home anyway, she didn't pick me up at all, bitch.
So that's why the old one.
And no one inside in the car by her. No, and she pretended she didn't see. She was pointing left, pretended she was turning left, and she went fucking straight on. I wouldn't trust her at all. No, her father was the same. He was an odd bastard. Wasn't her father? When he done for stealing that time, wasn't he? Yes, he's a duck. These are all made up people.
And I wondered, because the old one, I know my mother didn't want to be picking him up because he was about 40 fucking stone. And he stunk to high heaven. Like the poor old devil, he had a woman at home. He had a woman. I don't know why he wouldn't keep, but I can remember he was rank. But that must have been it, that she had to pick him up because he'd only fucking blaspheme her going up there if she didn't fucking collect him.
You'll be blackened around the place. Like, they'd fucking make sure that you were tarred and feathered, like. You're talking sick, of course. And if they saw you in the shop, then they'd kind of give you a glint, like, hello there, fancy, how are you? I'm not too bad since you passed me in the road the last day.
Real passive aggressive shit.
Christ, I didn't see you at all. You didn't see me, so if it was a tenner, you'd have seen it.
But that's what makes it beautiful and so on the money and brilliant for you to record too, is that these fellas, and they're always fellas, they can have their own conversation with themselves. Even, yes, there's somebody else in the vehicle with him. But what I love about Gossip is that he answers his own questions as statements as well. Like,
yeah, exactly, yeah, because it is always the way. Like, the fella you can never get a word in. There's no point. But you felt like you were talking. You weren't. Nobody was talking to him. He was talking to himself around everyone. And it's which is exhausting actually.
And was there milky teeth in the glove box? How did that, like?
We were down in Cove at some massive cruise liner came in on some bank holiday weekend. So me and Laura went down for a look, just walk around Cove, and because we live in Cork, like, and we just before we left, she goes, "Oh, we're going to the sweet shop here." It was Auntie Nelligan's in Cove.
Oh yeah,
we're getting things and whatever. She goes, "Oh, the milky teeth. I'll get some of them. I haven't had them in years." And I was like, "Yeah, yeah." And then she goes, "Do you want one?" I said, "All right, yeah, I'll take one." And then I just put them in. Yeah. We were walking. The car was parked on the pier, and she was kind of walking in front of me. I was like, "Look at me, Ishbin. I have no Ishbin home. You're a lovely girl. You're a lovely girl. I can't mind you if I was on 18 years, I'm going to have." And all that. She was like, "Oh, stop. That's so weird, but it's kind of fucking funny as well." Like, and she said, "You should do a video of that. Like, this is mad. Like, you're like a completely different person." I just pulled up the phone and I did 2 videos back to back. The first, just total whatever came to my head, as if I was a fella picked up on the road. And I sent them on to the lads for the crack. And they were kind of, generally if you send on some things to people, they'll give you a laughing face or a thumbs up or haha or whatever. But they kept going, "Jesus Christ, man, that's ridiculously good. Like, you should do something with that." And Laura, in fairness, she said, "Why don't you put that up on your Facebook?" I said, "No, sure. One day about 100 people will understand what I'm on about, like, Yeah. She said, "No, it's funny, like, put it up." And I was very slow to put it up. And I put it up on Instagram story first. You can do that too.
Yeah. We got on
test the water. And it was getting good reaction. And she just said, "Look, it's getting a great reaction. A couple of my friends have told me that they love it. Will you please put it up?" I was like, "Okay." So, and fucking just took off from there.
Really, first one or two, just exploded.
First one, I put up one and went mental, and then I said, "I'll put up the second one," and I got the same reaction, if not more. So I was like, "Oh Jesus, there's something here." So
there really is, because when I see it, it's like a little treat. Now I get it. It's like, fuck it, because I know too. There's thought put into it. You know what I mean? Like a lot of these videos that go on to it, well, whether there's thought or whatever, but there's a deepness to it. Like, you definitely know he knows every corner and every line he's turning in this fucking thing. But it's the waffly ones where there is sketch videos put up and you're kind of going, I can't buy it. It's too.
No, it's the character. Like, you have to see the part. Like, you can't see the person behind it. Like, if anyone saw me, they're like, "Oh, that's partner doing a character." It wouldn't work. Like, and I've often, like, even people would ask me, then message me, said, "Look, this is a character I'm thinking of doing. What, have you any tips?" And I'd say, "Look, I see you. I can't see you. I have to see the character, and I cannot see one shred of you. I don't want to hear you. I don't want to fucking see you." That kind of thing. Yeah. And that's what has worked for me anyway. That's particularly the nephew.
Yeah, because nephew's shoulders go up, his hair comes down a bit, like he's...
Yeah, that's it, like...
He's the young bollocks, like, isn't he, like...
That's Tom the Bear on Mahony, yeah. They call him the Bear. I said, you only call the Bear because he's a bear arse. For that reason at all. Yeah. He's got a kind of a handlebar mustache at the moment. He got fucking chopping wood before the day's out, I'd say. We're going back to school next week.
Oh, tell me more, nephew. But surely the Foley young one will be there, surely.
Oh, the Fogarty girl.
Fogarty girl, sorry. Excuse me.
It's okay. A lot of people get that mixed up. But I used to go out with Deirdre Foley. I used to go out with her before. But she moved down to another school because she was getting bullied. And I was going to go to that school as well, but it was all girls school, so I couldn't go. So I moved on to Kerry Fogarty. She requested to follow me there on Instagram. She blocked me there because I made fun of her one of her pictures. I was only having a laugh, like, and she blocked me. and I started getting kind of popular on Instagram, and she requested to follow me, but I'm gonna leave her waiting now for a while, leave her sweat before I accept, you know.
Oh yeah. I can't let her straight in, nephew. You know what I mean? So what's the plan? We'll go back to school. No social distancing, wearing masks.
I suppose we have to, like, you just have to go at the floor, like, you know. All right, sure. I'd say we won't be back a week in their closest again, sure. Sure, like the likes now of John Paul. Now, like, yeah, how could you socially distance from John Paul? Like, he actually pulls your clothes off you when he meets you. Like, he's too hot. He's got serious ADHD. Like, and like, there's no way that you can socially distance from these fellas. Like, you know. So I don't know. Unless they put us all at the cages or something, I don't know.
I feel privileged that I just a nephew. I actually had a conversation with me. I said, just because it's exactly what a nephew would be, isn't it? Is that he's that fucking young
he's
fella.
a goaty fella. There's
he's red raw useless, as you'd say.
Do you know who he's not really based off him, but I would say that he reminds me a lot of is, do you know Salad Fingers? Natasha introduced me to Salad Fingers.
Like rusty spoons.
He's got, his finger.
He reminds me. That's incredible. You're one of the only people that has ever referenced Salad Fingers. I've said it after Natasha showed it to me, and it was this creepy cartoon where there was his finger was bleeding or something, and he's like, I like it when the red water runs. I was like, what am I fucking watching?
What am I watching? Yeah, well, I love that stuff. That was David Firth, Fat Pie and all that. He does like all the videos for Aphex Twin and things like that. Like, it's absolutely off the wall stuff, but it's very brilliant. But that's always kind of
I like rust. The feeling of rust against my salad fingers is almost orgasmic.
Okay, that's fucking well, there's definitely an opening for rural base is the wrong thing, because a lot of the time shows look over the fact that the majority of the country are rural, outside.
That's the thing.
Like, people forget that there's over 3 million people who are rural people in Ireland.
That's it. Like, that's the fact, because even like country towns are rural, really. Like, people living in Mitchelstown or Ennis, even. They're not too. They're a hop and a skip from a field, like.
Yeah.
And some cows. So, like, you're pretty much country, like. But if you do the demographics on it, what is it? A million in Dublin, 500,000 in Cork. So there's only about less than 2.5 million in cities in Ireland, like.
Yeah.
And the rest is the country, So there's definitely a fucking market there anyway.
There was, because your man Sminky Shorts had you know what I mean? All his characters were extremely rural, you know what I mean?
Yeah, brilliant. Like, I actually got the pleasure of meeting him in City Limits last year.
Go away.
Met him, and I did had a great chat with him. He loved the characters, and I was like, I fucking love your stuff. Like, absolutely, he's the soundest, nicest lad you'd ever meet. Like,
he created a cult with that. Like, you know what I mean?
He did, absolutely. Like, and you'd love to see a return of it. Like, because like what he did was. Like, the ideas are endless, like, especially with animals. Like, you could do anything.
There is nothing funnier than an animated child or animated animal swearing. You know what I mean? Like, yeah,
exactly. It's the child comes out in all of us, and you hear it. Like, when I saw Fat Rabbit, the first one I saw now was Fat Rabbit, of the big heavy rabbit looking for a place to live. I thought I was going to die. Like, I was crying with laughter. Like, I think I watched it about 15 times in a row before I stopped. Like, I remember my mother coming up the stairs going, "What the hell is wrong with you?" I said, "Yeah, so watch this."
I remember there was a friend of mine. We were driving through Macroom one time. He was from Carsfield. We're heading down for the August Bank Holiday weekend, and I was fucking horsing on, like, because there was two of the lads were already there, and they were on the beer. We were late finishing up the job, and I picked him up in Ballincollig, and we fucking drove for all I could, and I came through Macroom, and it's kind of a twist in the road in Macroom. I shouldn't have been going the speed I was, but I can never forget to this day, because the Sminky Shorts plugged straight into my fucking brain. Quite literally, he went, "Well, do slow down, Tommy." And then
I'm going too fast.
And about 5-6 years later, this cartoon pops up, and my brain just went, sweet fucking Jesus. Then Fat Rabbit actually sounds a bit like, my father,
Yeah.
That's what am I supposed to do it? So I'm a Fat Rabbit,
What I love about that is this, the they're all great lines and everything, but the best line in every one of them is, not a fucking step up or nothing, huh? Plenty of fucking stones around the place, and you build a fucking step out of one of them, huh? And the fact that he keeps saying, ha, after everything is, so I was like, that's bang on the money. Because, there is nothing worse or more aggravating for me is when I hear an actor or anyone trying to do a Bogger accent and making a balls of it, and then like for it to make TV, I'm like, that's not how we speak at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, this is going on TV. This should be right, like.
I mean, people got the hump with me after Damon Ivor when they realised that I wasn't actually from there because I tricked them.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? I was going, well,
that's a sign. That's a good sign.
That's a good
your
sign.
Talent, like, exactly.
But John Cleary, I was chatting with him a couple of weeks ago, and he was fuming over the show Normal People.
Oh yeah, because he's from Sligo, of course.
And he says they all there would be, and he'd be very on point with accents. Like,
yeah, he's deadly. Yeah,
and he said fuck it, just like Abramson fucking hid inside in a bush down in fucking Maynooth and went, sure, let's have the Pan Culture accent. Fuck it. It's outside Dublin. Yeah. And he was right. And I brought it up on Newstalk a couple of weeks ago because they were saying, is it the new greatest show ever? And I went, I'm going to stop you there. I was speaking with John Cleary and was it Bill Hughes who's over Mind the Gap Films or whatever? He's got, come on now, Tom. I went, no, you're from a tie, so you don't give a damn.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And you've been living in Dublin that long. You're Dub now, so you know what I mean.
Yeah.
No, it is you're.
Yeah, it has to be like it has to be accurate. Like I found with that, I think it was kind of neutral culture, neutral kind of. It could have been more Galway than anything really, kind of rural Galway, Mayo kind of. But I don't know. See, I wouldn't even notice the Sligo accent, but it definitely not from Hardy Bucks anyway. They didn't sound like any of them boys,
Yeah, and that's what they genuinely sound like, the Hardy Bucks, I mean, and you wouldn't think that either, Eddie Durkin or the Viper were from England. That's
fantastic. That's some talent, like,
isn't it?
Doing, like, we can all do English accents and things, like we can do, decent or some attempt at it anyway. But that's because, like, we're surrounded by English television and listening to soccer and fucking Sky Sports News every day of the week. You're able to do something, but then boys to be able to do our accents and get it so on point, like, it was serious talent. Like,
I was doing a live podcast one time. It was kind of open; anybody could jump on. It was with a thing called Get Vocal, and Eddie Durkin jumped on. This is at the height of the lockdown, and he lives in Sweden now.
That's right. I read that.
Martin Maloney, and he jumps on. He goes, "Well, lads," and he starts speaking with his own accent, and it kind of caught me for a second. I was like, "Fuck!" And there was another lad who was from Wig or Leeds. Happened to be in the conversation as well. So the two lads were back and forth to it, And
then, it's great laughing at it.
And then all of a sudden I said something and Durkin switched straight back into stop. And he just went, but as easy as that, he went straight back into it. And it was like, wow, you've not only changed accents, you've changed countries and everything.
Exactly, tight. I see it, it's a shame that a lot of them boys, you wouldn't see him do as much. No, I know he's doing savage things at the moment, Viper. Online, he's doing great stuff.
I know
Colgan, but it was such a great show. I think it finished. Too early, to be honest. It was because I remember when Rosie was only like 2 months old. I'd say I used to get up in the morning with her, to do we'll say around 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning. I do that because Laura be up through the night, and I get up anyway, and I come down, and she'd have her little morning nap, and I throw on the Hardy Bucks on Netflix. Actually, there were only 22-minute episodes. The most joyous fucking mornings you'd have, like, back to back, rolling one into the other. Like, it's just fucking. I think it was a show. I think it was before its time.
Oh, it was way before its time. Yeah, but there was things, and Owen and myself now have a podcast, and it's starting to merge into kind of the land of silliness, really. Like,
that's right,
now
of course,
we're finding each other out.
He's class of what he's acting like,
we're finding each other out, that kind of way, properly.
Yeah.
Like, but we're ending up in a fairly good place now at the minute, like, of silliness, like.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I've seen. You've only started a few months ago, isn't it?
That's all. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I saw, I love Owen Colgan stuff, but I think one of my favorite ones of his is An Irish Mammy. You just think it's going to be one of these stereotypical, like, oh, get out of bed and go to mass. I'll fucking beat the head off you, like, dirty fucking. I'm an Irish Mammy. So
even,
twisted, like.
I remember saying to him about the Hardy Bucks, I says, where, like, some of the things, man, like, they were just so throwaway that you didn't make a big, like, at one stage, he comes back to his own house, his cottage, as Buzz, but he gets a spin with one of the lads, and they're going in reverse, and he's sitting out the window of the car, and the boys reverse into shot, and he jumps out the window, and he goes, sound lads, look, and the boys see around. And instead of putting it in first gear and going forward, they just continue in reverse and go round the corner. And I remember thinking, that is fucking beautiful. Like how, anyway, to be honest with you, Tom, there was that kind of carry on went on around the place because there was nothing else to be doing. There was nothing.
That was it. Like,
nothing else to be doing.
I'd say a lot of the show too was okay. We're filming. I'd say they probably had a rough outline of this is the story. Like, but we'll film a lot of other bits too and see what we can throw in. Like, I think sure, like the one with the Sligo boys, and they had the Viper, and they were like, "Go on, bend down. No, shift the car. Shift the car." And he's there, and he's shifting the car. It's kind of Python-esque almost, you know.
It actually is, but it'd be so liberating to get let off the chain with something. Imagine being given a budget and said, "Well, we have all this gear, you know, work away." Like, because
it was probably the first. Sorry to go across them. It's probably the first Irish at the time. It was around 2006, I'd say 2007. They were the first kind of sketch mockumentary style Irish group on YouTube. Like, sure, YouTube was only 2 years old at the time, and they were definitely like there was all comedians and doing this that. They were definitely the first sketch group, I'd say.
Oh, they were. I'd say, yeah, they were, because I mean, it was loosely similar, I suppose, with a similar vein to, I suppose, what the Trailer Park Boys was to a degree, like. Yeah,
of course, yeah.
But the Trailer Park Boys even had more structure than them lads had. You know what I mean? Like, they were
exactly.
They were everywhere and anywhere around the fucking county, really. Like, you know, they did whatever they wanted. But
I know. Yeah.
I was just saying that because you're a proper actor though as well. Like, you know what I mean? There's only fellas like me already fucking bluffing at it. You studied that.
I did it in the Gaiety. I did the 1 year course there. It was at night.
You're allowed to put on your scarf now if you want. Like, just flick it over your shoulder. Like,
thanks. Thank you very much, Thomas. It was really. If I always noticed about, you know, if you listen to the radio about, you know, theatre reviews or whatever, they always sound like they're talking about food. I don't know why. It's like, it was really like it was a juicy bit. It was together. It was smooth. It rubbed off each other, and it really went down well. You know, the audience loved it. But I loved this time there. It was fucking brilliant. Like, you know, because you're doing all sorts of things that you'd never do. Like, we're doing a lot of things, Oscar Wilde, and thinking, you know, you're just doing like Chekhov and Meisner and all these different techniques that you just, you know, you'd never just Google it and do that. Like, you have to be taught it. Like, it was class. And I did a year in Cork as well, in Stefanefa. But honest to God, though, like, if we weren't doing comedy, we wouldn't be working at all. Like, sure, acting is cat. Oh, like, there's no work in it at all. Like, you know, you'd want to be very lucky.
Even the people that I know that get a lot of work at it, like, you're
hard life.
Like, they're, you know what I mean, they're on and off the dole, like, and you're going, fucking hell, man.
Like, would you go for the ads now, you know, in the Irish towns, you know, they're always looking for comics?
No, not anymore. I couldn't.
No, like, I lost the will to live as well, because I was coming from Kerry, like, and sure, I was totally fucking naive, like, thinking, because they'd message you going, we really want to see you for this part. You think it's good? Or, like, I'd be there blowing my fucking house down South West Kerry going, Christ almighty, I'll get the train to Dublin. I'd go up, man. I'd be rushing everything. Like, and like, from Houston station to Irish Town is fucking, they might as well be going to County Loud. Like, it's a massive distance. And you get in there, you're like, you get there, and there's about 500 people in front of you on the queue. You're like,
and you recognise every fucking one of them.
Yeah, like, yeah. And you walk in then, and okay, you say the line, well, that's why you should go to Little Thanks next. And that's it. Like, will we get a call back if we want to see you?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Like,
they're very nice, like, but Jesus, it's so, you'd want to be living within a 2-kilometre radius of that place, like.
Like, I think for a lot of us, for show, for for one reason or another, a lot of the time they have their pony already picked.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? Like,
I think it's definitely what do they call it? A union kind of thing. I'd say kind of legality that they have to open audition or whatever.
Oh yeah.
But I think the great thing about lockdown is that kind of shit will probably stop. Where like you have to go to Dublin at 9 o'clock on a fucking Tuesday morning.
Yeah.
Instead of you can stay at home. Like every technology should allow that. Like, you know, just show people how to do self auditions or self tapes, and that should be it. And if they want to see you, the next level where they're actually considering you, then you should go. But this bollocks of dragging people from all over the country for false hope, like, is, oh God. I used to tie them with a gig, so I wasn't too bad, like, you know.
But I've done a couple of them, and I did one time, and I ended up getting through and getting into the ad. But sure, there was a gang of us in the ad, and it was being.
Yeah.
It's funny how it incrementally got worse. Like, it started out like these absolute bollockses who they'd done a couple of drinks ads, and Guinness had hired these fuckers, like, and the way they were dressed and the way they walked into the room, these lads, you would swear they were going to create the next. I think of an ad that's the most fucking epic ad of all time. Like that's
like the Carlsberg ad, like
exactly.
Yeah.
Like they were going to be on that level. They were going to walk in, and it would change the face of the drinks industry. Mm-hmm. The fucking get up of these Canadian lads, like, and I stood and I got through, and they said, if you're featured, which is a possibility, like 10 grand. Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh Jesus Christ. And that's the way it was being sold to me anyway, with this notion. 10 grand.
Fuck so I'll buy the house now.
So your man says, your man walks in the next off. Honestly, talk about fellas making work when there wasn't more work to be fucking made. Like, your man walks in, he sees us all lined up, and he's like, they had a ton of different costume, whether it was jeans and this, and he's like, I swear to God, he's actually putting his finger and thumb together as if he's making a rectangle. A 16 by 9, and they're going to do this, and you're like, how big are your fingers, you wanker? They could be fucking 12 by fucking 11. But he's like, with me, he's like, too blue. I'm like, but you have me in a denim shirt and a fucking denim pair of jeans. And
of course I'm fucking too blue. And I blend in with the sky.
Oh, it was just... And the ad turned out to be as exactly what you imagined. It's inside the pub, there's a pint pulled, and a fella looks at it and gulps. That's what they ended up coming up with.
That's it.
That's it. Yeah. And they were like, let's get the way the pint shimmers. And you're like, have you watched any ads since the fucking 60s for Guinness, man? Every one of them have done this, you hacky bastard. Now, I don't think even my elbow got featured, and it went from if you semi-feature you'll get 5 grand, and then it ended up being down Danger. Now it's still 400 quid I got. For
exactly.
But to see the level of bullshit that was going on, like, you know.
Mm-hmm. It's I did one for, I'd say I've only got a few. Oh God, you know what I did? I got it. And I have to fucking get this removed because I did an in-house health and safety demonstration video for Lidl, right? So this is
only to be shown to staff.
Only to be shown to staff, right? So our staff are learning. They're like, okay, guys, we're just going to show you the demonstration video. So it's just me and this other girl from Cork. We're going around the shop in that tie at 5 a.m. fucking cleaning up broken glass and talking on the thing and all that. And the amount of times I've got a message from someone going, hi, I had my induction day today in Lidl. I think I saw you in the ad. And I was like, it's still being shown. This is 5 years ago. Like,
at least please say you weren't doing Nikita's accent walking around there.
No, Jesus Christ, no, it was myself. But it was so cringe, I'd say. Like, I was there, you know, like those they had this huge kind of floor cleaner, and my big thing, my feature was filling this with liquid and starting it. It took about fucking 2 hours, like, and they were there. I was like, okay, no, we'll do it again. Okay, now this time when you turn the knob, I want you to look straight ahead, okay, and as if you're looking straight down the aisle. It's like, right, so. Oh, very good. Yeah, I like that one. Yeah. It's a lot better than the first one. Yeah. Great. We're good with that one, thanks.
You went deep into your checkoff for that one, I'd say.
Yeah,
did you?
It was gas because like you had to do it while Lidl was closed. So we went there at 11 o'clock at night, And we stayed there straight through till 8 in the morning, and we did it for two nights in a row. And we were completely delirious by the end of it.
But you'd play spotless for him, had you?
Oh, with the place. By then, I should have handed my CV in there after I was finished. I would have got paid more.
But you tell me this: how does a lad then from Southwest Kerry, who's handy at football, turn around and go, "I'm off to the Gaiety to be an actor"?
I suppose it was the seed was planted. I suppose when we were a new club, we did a youth club sketch for the All Ireland, this kind of series. So like pretty much it was a 5-minute comedy series, comedy sketch that there was 6 of us in the show, and we performed it for the county. We won the county. We got to the semi-final, All Ireland semi-final, won that, and went on and we won the All Ireland with it. And it was fucking great crack, like, and I loved it. And the people we had with us, we had like Sean Leary, he's a local artist and puppeteer and Shanachie and everything, just a fantastic character, like, one of these brilliant artists, like really into it as well and hilarious. And then we like Gloria then as well. Gloria Driscoll was our youth club leader, and she just got things done, So he had all the kind of creativity, but she did as well. But she knew how to, right lads, stop arsing around now, let's get it done, And I loved the creative and the discipline. I loved both of it. And I was just like, fuck it, this is class, like. And did loads. There was a big thing down in Kerry called Tops of the Town, I suppose. Yeah. So we did a lot of those. I used to do like mini short sketches in between acts. So like, say if like musicians were getting set up and the dancers were just come off, I'd go on stage for 2 minutes with another fella, and we'd do a very short, silly kind of sketch, And I just loved the laughs. Just loved getting laughs, like, so. I was like, this is addictive, And I do remember after one of them anyway, we did some sketch, and a teacher who had retired, she came up and she said, "Geez, you I've been doing these things for years. You really look like you enjoy it." I said, "I'd love to do it for a living." And she said, "Why don't you? Go on away," and just kind of took it from there. Go on away, so.
Don't you love that when people turn around and go, "You should have, geez, would you not get your own television show?"
You're like, exactly it. You're fucking Simon. Who do I call? I have one number for that. I have one number for RT.
I have a show for them.
It's very funny, actually. There was this man below at home, and he pulled up in the street one day to me in his van, and he goes, "Bernard, I've been looking for you for weeks." I said, "I live in Cork." He said, "I have an idea for you." And I said, "Oh yeah?" And I thought of the idea. And when I thought of it, I got straight into my van and I drove out to Portmagee, and I couldn't find you. So I called your house. I was like, okay. But no one was there. So I went across to the coffee shop to your sister. And I told her the idea. And she said she'd tell you. Did she tell you? No.
This is all happening out the window of his van.
Oh, yeah. In the middle of the street, like in broad daylight. Like, and he got out then, he told me the idea. It was like an innocent idea, but it was just so funny, like, how it would just come to someone's head. I have to find him and tell him now.
Yeah. And I'm going to drive over to his house.
Yeah.
And in no way is that going to seem mental whatsoever. Like,
I know, yeah. But I suppose with the thing, sorry, Tom, with the fucking, with the thing, I did arts in UCC, and then I went into comedy with the Comedy Society there, and then it just got too strong, like the vibe. Like I was like, I need to do more and more and more. Like doing this passively isn't going to quench this kind of thirst. Like so, you just know. Like I was like, I went away and I went to Stefanefa after that for a year, and then the Gaiety, because I just like, people would say, like, you're not going to get a job, like, it's really hard living and things and all that. I was like, I'd rather be fucking doing this than be 44 and never done it and inside in some office, like,
Yeah.
I just know if I never did it, I'd have been the absolute loser at the Christmas party. Just gotta go up there now, guys. How's it going? Huh? What about Mary and accounts?
And every gig I've ever done in that, there's always that guy. I'm funny enough myself, And you're like,
yeah.
And
exactly,
in a lot of ways, you feel for that fella. You're like,
you do, yeah.
Man, maybe you should have, done something about it. Like.
You should have done something. And I'm afraid it is too late now, isn't it? You have to get some life. Yeah, to be honest with you, it'd be the worst decision of your life now if you did it. So maybe just keep on dreaming.
But who knew? I mean, that you probably didn't guess after. I mean, you've done some. What was the? I searched for it. Could I find it? No, I fucking couldn't. But it was kind of a dark. It's almost a thriller-like look to it. It was one of the most recent projects you were in. That wasn't, would say, gossip.
Oh yeah, Meat is Murder. I'd say was it.
That's it.
That's the one. Yeah. That was great fun. That was a short film made by guys Ben Kavanagh and Luke Murphy. They're from Kerry actually, but they're graduates of UCC film course, and it's just a world where meat is illegal, and a fella is caught frying sausages inside in the kitchen. Is brought into fucking, and it's the punishment if you're caught frying meat with meat is you're killed. It's a fucking death sentence, and you're redistributed as meat yourself as punishment. And in a dystopian future,
if you're going to get caught for any kind of meat, and now sausage is a good way to go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I was the attorney who was defending your man, but I was fairly shit. Like it was good fun. It was class doing it. It's great being on set. Like, sure, you know yourself and being Damon Ivor. Like, that's where you want to be. Like, you want to be doing shorts and fucking series and all that kind of thing. Like, but they are few and far between for most people.
They are, yeah. They I mean, but you can feel for other people too, because the amount of time I've had lads with scripts and stuff to go, look, it's just, we've a fortnight to spend down in Waterford. We don't have any money at all, but there'll be tents and accommodation.
Exactly. Yeah,
I'd love to. But in what world did you think? Did you think asking a married man with a child? Can you take 2 weeks off and just head down into the middle of nowhere for no money at all? Like,
Yeah, that's it. Like, and it's a kind of, like, I still never like get angry at them because I still wouldn't be like, oh, for God's sake, because you're like, I get it. Like, there's no money in it. Like, there's no money to give. There's no money to make. It's just art, or
Oh, absolutely. And we've all asked lads to do stuff.
God, yeah. I've done, like, we've all done it before when you're younger. Like, it's no bother, but absolutely not anymore. You just can't. Like, we don't have the time to, like, no.
And you know yourself too. Even making it might be the greatest piece of work on the planet. It could be Kubrick level, but for some reason it doesn't sit well with somebody. And you go, because I remember we made a pilot to, and written, kind of a treatment to where it was going to head and all the rest of it. Had a couple of, and the writer on board that was writing it, and kind of I was consultant on it. He writes professionally for TV shows, like, and himself and the wife are actually Academy Award nominated, the whole lot.
Jesus,
and we had with John Cleary, Colin MacDonald, Pat MacDonald. Who else came on board? There was a couple of, like, McSavage wanted in, the whole lot, like, and but like that, filmed it professionally, the whole lot went into RT and went, no, it's not what we're looking for. Rather than going, hold on, how did you get all of these together? And what? This combo.
That's bad. That's bad.
Boom. Just went. So there's you writing it. You filmed it correctly. You got Damon Ivor, the fucking Father Tate, Savage Eye, the Hardy Bucks, and you got, Irish Republic, and rather than just put, and that's what kind of, I won't say kind of, I didn't get overly angry. I just kind of went, oh, all right. And when I saw what 2 shows ended up replacing this, what we would have been going for, I went, of course you're not looking for that at all. Think of the total opposite to
what they were looking for. Like,
It wasn't that.
It was prime time. Yeah.
Well, it was a comedy of sorts, but it certainly wasn't us, if you know what I mean. But
I get you.
But wouldn't you turn around and be a bit progressive and go, great job, but would you consider doing something like this?
Yeah. But that's it. There is, like, I suppose, the higher you go up in the world of kind of the arts, really, like, and like, there seems to be a kind of a level of pretension that sets in. It's kind of like, I know what I'm talking about, so you don't. So what I say, that there's going to be a lot of that. It's bollocks, really.
Yeah, I suppose if they opened that door ever slightly to you, it would show that maybe they don't know what they're talking about. They want to keep that door.
That's it.
You know?
Yeah. Exactly. That's the danger, like, for on their side. Yeah, it would be.
So, tell me this: is there any hope or any talks of Bernard's show making a comeback?
We're looking at the sit-down shows, the kind of, as I said, the burlesque style shows with like the burlesque house in Simpsons, you know, and
where Grandpa walks in.
Grandpa,
and he's
"What's your name, Bart?"
Back out the door again.
We just heard this place existed. I love that's a great fucking tune, isn't it? Joseph, I had no idea. Come on now, you were working here.
That was a great episode.
Yeah, brilliant. But so I'd say what I can see happening is there's only 50 at the moment allowed inside. So I think that includes crew as well. So it's only like 45 or something, audience and things. And so what I can, through the grapevine, what I'm hearing from people is that it's going to be these kind of 45-seater things, dinner and a show, but there'll be 2 shows a night. So like there'll be like an 8 and a 10 or something.
Right.
I'd say it'd be like Las Vegas style, only smaller, you know, like back to the years, like back to the fucking 50s kind of job, like.
Yeah.
People sat at tables and eat their dinner and they have a drink and the entertainer comes out.
Jeez, we're all going to have to buy a fucking suit, so are we?
That's it. So yeah, there'll be fucking red drapes and all that, like. Yeah. So that's what until the capacities increase to 100, it's going to be like that, I'd say. And it doesn't look like it's going to be increased to 100 for a while, let's say. But that's what it seems to be. So I have a few things kind of petering about. Like we just need to set dates and find out what the requirements are in terms of tickets and all that. So how many people we're allowed to actually have at the show. And I'd say we'll see where we go from there.
Should just get in one of them Healy Rays, it'd be grand.
That'd be fine. Yeah. Imagine bringing him to Edinburgh. Do
you know what? In the Dáil that day when Michael Healy Ray spoke about you or whatever, and it was right. Everything he was saying how many people in the entertainment industry were out of work and stuff. But it was Leo had like one eye on the door for holidays, and I was he was like, absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. Whatever you say, fucking why not? Let's get a few cans and just fucking tear at it. You know? I got your show right now.
And that was my first thought, was because you had just done a sketch about Leo getting the lunch for the boys or something, wasn't it?
That was it, yeah.
Please say he Googles you. Please say he Googles you.
That's it, yeah. It's funny too because, you know, like, I suppose my collection of videos are so different. Like, you know, you go from a fucking GA sketch to a barman sketch to a fella with teeth. Like, there's no consistency at all. Like, they're like, what the fuck is this lad at? Like, is he an impersonator or what's going on? Like, you know, I'd say from someone looking in who doesn't get it, like, you know, it's like, what the fuck? This is that shit.
Listen, I'm making barbecue fucking tutorial videos and now and podcasts. It's whatever. Do you know what I mean? Whatever you could do together.
Whatever floats your boat, yeah.
Exactly, whatever floats your fucking boat, like.
Tail at it, but there's no point trying to base it off others, I suppose. We just have to go in, do our own style, you know.
But give us your best place to follow you before I want to get you to sign off. Sign off's beautiful. So where's the best place to follow you?
Beautifully. I suppose you have Facebook, Bernard Casey Comedy, Instagram, Bernard Casey Comedy, and Twitter is Bernard Casey 90.
Oh shit!
At Bernard Casey 90.
We're hoping for the trifecta there.
We're hoping for. I probably could. I'd say there's surely not another Bernard Casey Comedy, like.
Unless he was that fella that murdered somebody back in the day who thought it was.
Oh yeah, probably did. Yeah. He could be resurrected or anything, but you wouldn't know. And,
could
YouTube and all that.
Could we get a sign off from Gossip himself?
And Daniel, I think he's inside watching the chase. Hang on a second.
Oh, very good, very good. Well, you must, I should give him a shout there. Here, Gossip.
Will you come in there and talk to Tommy Bell? I know, mate. No, they're only 2 steps behind you. They're going to get caught. Like there's like a minute left. All right, don't look. Can I help you if you don't man? They're very smart. Very smart. All right, let's come on. All things. Come to the bed, but the bed, man.
How are you getting on?
Not too bad, no child, but I will tip you away like a small jumper. Mm-hmm.
How are things down your way anyway? I was talking with the lad inside, and he said just things are tight below there with there's no sign of it ever lifting.
What the corona? Yeah. We would damn never still the start here, all right. Quite around March there in the March and the start of April, but I didn't stick my head outside the door at all in case I catch it. Yeah, and I went to things started to lift there around June, and Jesus Christ, didn't the Yanks start coming in? And I fucking put a stop to that fairly lively down our area.
Did you?
I fucking did, man. I just signed up and I said, go home to fuck. And I did. That's it. And the way that whatever way they read it anyway, they took it seriously, man. They turned around on their fucking heels and they went straight back to Shannon.
Oh, what about that your nephew, the Red Raw useless bastard? I mean, he's
Red Raw.
He's surely going to fucking bring it in around the place, would he?
I think he wanted to, because he wouldn't spend time, so I'd say he wouldn't spend the money inside the shop at all either, so I'd say he'd no place to go to bring it back from. So the only thing he's worried about now is playing a bit of pocket pool, I think. I tell you, but you'd see him there on the couch there around 11:30 at night, and we'd be all sitting down there, and he'd be crying away at the kind of the wrist, and you know he's getting antsy, like. I'm like, what's wrong with you? You're like a fucking cat. Is that when are you going to bed? I'm like, we'll go to bed. We're tired. I said, yeah. But I didn't know the last night. I went to bed a bit, but I left the door small bit ajar, and I do up, and the volume on the fucking TV went straight down, right down to the bottom. I said, Christ, she's not happy turning it off. I saw the light. I saw a glimmer of light come through the door, like. I went down, but and I fucking stuck the eye in, but what do you have on? Only Bravo. What? I'm the Bravo, boy. I said, oh, Jesus Christ. I said, I wrote learning Italian. He said, what do you want about? But I was down with him. I thought he was trying to start the lawnmower.
On that beautiful note, Bernard Casey, gossip, nephew, and all the rest of them. Thanks a fucking million for that. That was brilliant.
Thanks very much, Tom. Really appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. Good man.
Not about it, mate.